I got some crazy hair going on right now. It's not bad, but it's...
Where's your, what is it, sexy hair gel?
Oh, yeah. Well, now I'm back
I love
to
that
my
you
good
have it in
old-fashioned...
your office. Oh, yeah. You're back to your roots, your original?
Yeah, sexy hair is like... it was working, but middle of the day, I'm like, my hair's flat. Look at this spiker. This thing's going higher. Like, I'm like fucking, I'm thriving right now. Oh, like, I guess the pod should start right there. Yeah. All right.
We try and do good professional intros, and it's always just us talking about something very random. Ooh.
Sexy hair. Oh, no.
Oh, no.
Right,
how embarrassing. You can't even open a seltzer.
Should see a doctor about that. It's really... Call my physician. End up in a fucking bathtub in the middle of the beach. Yeah, so not a great start. Opening a Truly, which it's the only thing I had. This is not... There's no significance of this. I guess there's sort of some tropical Masters-y vibes. Yeah. It's like 70 degrees here today, which is great.
Wow,
so,
look at you. It's warmer there than it is here. That's crazy.
Oh, that's not good, by the way.
How long has it been in your fridge?
I don't know. Too long. Too like a week is too long. This is no. But I'm gonna do it.
A week is too long. Was it too long in Vegas?
Oh my God.
Let's start there with why we didn't have an episode last week, which Kramer was working. Right. To be fair,
I was working. So I was in Vegas for 7.5 days, 8 days, I guess. Two pieces of this. So, I went first for fun, and we had a lot of fun. I have some like general feedback. First off, if you've not been to Circa, it is as advertised. It is awesome. It is downtown old Vegas, so it's a little bit different. Like people are normally on the Strip, but it is great, and the book is great. Although I will say, it was crazy crowded. It's harder to get around. It's a huge casino, but it's not like the Goliaths of like MGM Grand or some of the others. So it got a little goofy. This was too much Vegas for me, Paige. By like day 5, I had like 2 days where I sort of like reined it in.
Yeah.
But like I'm eating, so I was there for fun, and then I was there kind of for work, and I'm like mixing in all these different things. It's not even the gambling. I actually did pretty well gambling and a couple of good like runs to like not die. It's the eating and like it's really the meals. You're out there and you're eating like a fucking savage for 7 days. And by the end of it, the only thing that's saving me is like I'm doing 22,000 steps a day.
Jeez.
That is like the only thing. Oh yeah, like for the trade shows and shit. So by the end of it, I'm like, I was waving the white flag. So I took my other point on this, maybe one of the worst. So the weather out here was going to get really goofy. I took a red eye home. I'm interested to get your thoughts on red eyes.
Okay.
I take off. Mid-flight, I'm just finally starting to fall asleep, maybe around 1:30 in the morning, right? Because I leave at midnight. The fucking pilot hits the brakes awkwardly, and I'm like, oh shit, we're descending already? And the plane starts not nosediving. Let me not, and I'm like, I look at my watch, I'm like, that's weird. Wall of turbulence like I've not experienced.
Oh no.
For about a minute. There was a man next to me who I don't know, grabbed my arm.
To be fair, though, that's like a compliment. You seem like someone who's comforting and
to be clear, I let him grab it. Like I'm like, because I'm like, you know what, buddy, I could grab your arm right now. So it was, and then I didn't sleep. So the whole red eye, like after that, it was jarring. Like that stuff doesn't usually bug me. I pull into my house at 6:15 a.m. and I've slept 25 minutes. As I'm walking through my garage, my kids hear the garage open, and like I hear their feet like upstairs, and I'm like,
oh no,
oh shit, it's on. So that was rough. I think I'm done. I think red eyes are
out for you.
I think they're out. I tried. I don't know where your thoughts are on it, and I'm really curious to hear about your trip too, which actually had way more work and fun, cool stuff than this. But red eyes, I think I've got to go.
I don't mind red eyes. I like to take them when I'm going back east because then I get like a full day in said city. So I've taken them to New York before, and I don't mind it because I'm someone who can like power through and hit the ground running, and then I'll go to sleep relatively early local time so that I'm not up late because I'm switching time zones. Because I get up early regardless of what time zone I'm in. But I don't mind them, but I think coming back to children after being in Vegas, that was a really bold choice on your end.
We went to breakfast. I was able to keep together till about like, I don't know, 11:45, and then I napped. I nap like twice a year. That was one of 2 naps per the 2023 quota.
Yeah.
So, but no, so you were at, first off, your great content.
Thank you.
I will say.
Thank you.
I saw most of your content on Instagram,
Yes.
like the old that I am, and your seats for the championship game were fucking crazy.
So yeah,
wow.
I was at the Final Four in Houston. I do have to give props to Houston first and foremost. Did not expect to like the city as much as I did. We will obviously be there in January for the college football national championship.
Yep.
It was a pretty cool city. Not entirely walkable to like the actual stadium, but around there is walkable. Went to an Astros game on Sunday during the off day. Yeah, the first Final Four games were, I guess they're 2 games, but the Final Four itself. That buzzer beater was pretty wild to see in person. Like, I've watched a lot of March Madness over the years, and that was insane to witness in real time.
It was awesome. It really was.
And basically how like this setup works is there's a lot of media at the Final Four because you get a lot of like local affiliates coming to cover the games. And so my seats for the first games were like behind the basket, which still is a good seat. Like, you still get to see everything. But on national championship day, I knew that I'd probably move seats just because like a lot of the local media leaves with the teams that are eliminated. So I look and I see my seat number and I'm like, okay, cool, it's in this area. So I knew relatively where it was. And so I'm like walking over, and like I was walking in front of it, and like the little like place cards are there, and I'm like looking. And as I'm looking, I like look over, and Jim Nantz is sitting there like doing his thing, like reading over some notes. And so I walk by and I go up there, and my seat is like directly behind him. And as someone who, one, just like loves Jim Nantz, and not only because of the like Final Four coverage, but because of golf, I was like, I don't fangirl a lot, but I was just like in awe. And it was probably the coolest moment of like my career so far. Because I think, like, this Final Four, for some reason, I don't know if it was because of the Nantz stuff specifically, but, like, sometimes when and I think, too, my brother and my stepdad came with me and, like, kind of share that they've never been to a Final Four, so to share in their, like, first one was cool. But, like, we, like, work a lot. And, yes, of course, this is, like, a super great job, and you get to do this all the time. But it comes with, like, sacrifice. It comes with, like, a lot of... You know, we work weekends. You miss out on a lot of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And to, like, watch a guy who's done this for so many years. And, of course, like, he has the greatest job in the world. And he'd probably tell you that. But he, like, FaceTimed with one of his grandkids. It was beforehand. Like, it's those, like, little things that I was like, man, like, he's been at this. I think it was, like, his 32nd time calling this. And I've only been in this business for, like, 10 years maybe, like starting early in college, but like just to kind of like witness that, it made me like really nostalgic about like what I get to do and the fact that I like this is what I get paid to do, and it kind of all makes it worth it. So it's kind of like a weirdly emotional like thing for me to be sitting there and being like, wow, this is, you know, you get to be here, and like all that hard work kind of like pays off at the end of it.
Thanks for being my friend. Like, oh god, I don't know why that like kind of broke me.
It broke me. It broke me to like watch him take off the headset and then like wipe tears and just like hug the guys and just be like, it was so surreal to be sitting there watching all of it like unfold. And also just to see what like goes into it during the game. Like there's a guy that sits next to him that literally like has cards and is like writing things down and showing him, and like he's in the middle of talking while reading this. And like, you know, it was also cool to see like Grant Hill was like taking videos of everything, because he also like as a fan, like he calls this game with Nantz, but like he was also in the moment of like, wow, this is the last time he's doing this, and like I get to be a part of it. I'm gonna take my like videos of it too. It was just really cool. I will say the real MVP is the lady that sits behind them and like gets them whatever they need and makes sure like everything goes smoothly. She was great. So
Nance, I think, does not get enough credit. Like calling a college basketball game, calling golf Masters, not just golf, but the Masters, and being able to do primetime NFL, like there is such an emotional difference across all three of those. There's a knowledge base, there's a tempo. I think most people do celebrate Jim Nance. He's in fucking Golden Tee, right? He is the voice of Golden Tee. I love Jim Nance. Literally, he's been a part of my professional life. Yeah. But it is amazing when you hear, I don't know, just how natural he does all of this. Yeah. And thanks for being my friend. I don't know why I heard that. I was like, okay, I'm going to go watch something else. Yeah. It was cool. It was neat. That's a cool moment. I mean, it's, awesome run. UConn's amazing. What a run. Jeez. But like, of all the things to see up close, like that's probably the neatest thing.
Yeah, that was cool. Well, I mean, seeing UConn win was cool, and being that close to it all and being able to like experience that, like that's the best part of it, because that game starts very late and you're tired, but like that moment of even just seeing like kids realize their dreams and like those type of things, like seeing it up close and personal is just never gets old. Like that feeling never really goes away. Yeah, it's incredibly special, and I think I would recommend going to a Final Four if you've never been to one, just to experience it, even if your team's not in it. It's certainly worth it. But yeah, it was one of those like career moments for me of just being like, wow, this is actually pretty cool. It was awesome. Pretty awesome. Oh, I will say though, I was so pissed at myself. I know how to spell Jim Nance's name, and for some reason, I was tweeting about the fact that he's wearing Masters socks, which he was, by the way. And I spelt it wrong, and I didn't notice it until the next day, and I was like, all right, Paige, well, that was cute. And that kind of stuff drives me crazy, that, like, I always double-check people's
Twitter
names.
Typos?
Yeah. Well, it's not even, like, I don't care if I have typos during, like regular things. It's names.
Oh, yeah. Well, because you've worked in editorial long, and like, it's the first thing you learn, and
in
we still do it.
School, it's legitimately, like, get people's names right.
It's like, I remember you do it sometimes, and it's horrifying.
Yes, so that was sad for me. But no, it was a very cool experience, and I'm grateful I got to go. And it's super fun. I did enjoy making a lot of content. That's actually one of my favorite parts of having multiple games is the outfits, really, because let's be real, I love to get dressed up. And if you're not watching on YouTube, I'm already dressed up for the pod today in my golf. My golf sweater just says golf on it.
Golf.
In Masters Green. I just was so ready for this week. But yeah, no, overall good basketball season. UConn is stacked and gonna be stacked next year too, so look out. We probably should have seen it coming earlier in the year. They were pretty good. They lost a few games in January, so that was kind of rough, but ultimately it made sense that they ended up winning that.
It's interesting, like the NIL and the portal stuff too. We obsess over it on the football side. This is a college football podcast, but like on the basketball side, I'm very curious now to see how that impacts, because there's so many more. I shouldn't say so many more. It seems like the coaching carousel is a little less insane. Yeah. But in terms of roster management, it's, obviously you have a smaller roster, but significant pieces. Like it'll be fascinating to see that component.
You can pay for a team to actually be good. Like in football, it would take a lot. You'd have to pay for a lot of different pieces. In basketball, it's a lot easier.
Yeah, you get two guys, right? Like you inject two guys. Like, Miami, look what Miami did. I mean, that kind of was it. Yeah. So okay, we have to talk, of course, and I'm very interested. Women's Final Four. Where do you want to start?
Let's start with the fact that it was the most watched Women's Final Four ever, most well attended. And was incredible games. The games were actually fantastic to watch.
Obviously now, I think everybody listening to this knows what, I'm an Iowa fan. It was a hell of a run. Caitlin Clark is truly unbelievable. Yes. But the whole, the shame in all of this is what this story has become. Like, I hate that we're now talking about, like, taunting, essentially, rather than celebrating what was a great, not great. Great doesn't encompass this appropriately. Like a historically awesome Final Four. I hate that certain people and certain shows and networks are manufacturing, using the success of this and this talking point to manufacture like days of content. When the participants themselves, especially Caitlin Clark, is saying like, let's not fucking do this. No. So it's kind of cool that this is sort of capturing the sporting world in a weird way. So I'll play both sides of this. And yet, on the other hand, I wish that these moments themselves could do it without having sort of quote unquote controversy attached to it.
Yeah, it is extremely unfortunate. I think for me, the biggest takeaway is that we, for some reason, think that we can monitor and patrol how women react in a sports environment. I think it's funny that like if guys taunt each other, there's just no conversation about that. And it's interesting to me like that media members bought into it, because I feel like for the most part, like the media is pretty good about being like, not like fans. Like if you're a fan, you can certainly have an opinion on what players you prefer and what, attitude you prefer during a game. But when you're a media member, it's not your job to give an opinion on those things, and especially be critical of them in certain aspects. I think when you're just throwing out very, very harsh criticisms for people. But I will say that like Caitlin Clark doesn't need anyone defending her. Angel Reese doesn't need anyone defending her. I think Caitlin, like she said, she taunted during she didn't care during the game. I think, there was a lot of built up animosity over the course of the tournament, and, rightfully so, I think in a lot of ways, because I mean, anyone that I think this LSU team, and even before the game, they were saying like, we are not going to tolerate the disrespect, and their quote disrespect in their opinion. But again, I think those players also respected. I don't know if this is getting lost in the shuffle. There was an LSU player who actually waited to say hi and meet Caitlin Clark before the game during the Final Four. And she was on video being like, I'm waiting to meet Caitlin because she's so great and all this, and like shook her hand and said hi to her before. So they respect her game. It's not that they don't respect her or all of those things. It was more just like a heat of a moment competition thing. And like when you're winning the national championship by however many points, you have the right to do that. You have the right to act however you want to act. And I think we need to, you can choose not to, root for players that are doing things that you don't like, but those players are allowed to have those moments. Like you can taunt however you want to taunt. You can act however you want to act. And I think that was the takeaway for me, is like, it's frustrating as like a woman myself being like, stop telling them that they have to act a certain way to be considered like a good competitor or to be considered classy or whatever you want to do. Like that's not for you to decide. And so that was disappointing for me, that was the takeaway. But like I said, those girls don't need us defending them at all. They're fine. They're going to do big things, and they made history this year for the tournament. So
beyond the way people, media, I don't know, Twitter talked about women, it's a little weird to be talking about 20-year-olds in the way that we're doing it as well. I maybe almost took more offense to that because I don't think these quote unquote women need defending.
Nope.
I do think that there's always been a barrier up for student athletes that I've been mindful of, and it's weird. It feels like we kind of crossed that barrier. But I will say this, like my kids, I have a daughter and 2 boys, have never connected to an athlete like they have Caitlin Clark, all of them. And it's awesome. I beyond the female component, they have a connection to this athlete, to this, and the rawness of her, the imperfect, like the shit talking, the shooting crazy ass things. Like it's been really cool as a dad just to see them, even from a just general sporting standpoint. Like the first person they connect to, sporting wise, truly connect to, is her, and that's awesome. And part of me loves the rawness of all of this. I hate what we've done to capitalize on the rawness. But I love the fact that this is driving women's sports and women's basketball to another level. Like we are going next year. Like they're like, I don't want to go watch the shitty Mets. I don't want to go to an Iowa football game like that. We're going to an Iowa. We want to go watch game. And I'm going to use and probably abuse my connection to Iowa to make this fucking happen. And it's at the core of it, it was so cool to see, and all of that was a joy. The South Carolina game was absolutely unbelievable.
Was insane.
And I'm speaking as an Iowa fan. Like, that was a really cool moment. They're a 10.5-point dog and they win. But then, yeah, LSU, you could just kind of feel from the jump, like, this is probably not going to go great. So it was awesome. Yes, I wish there wasn't this, like, all the other, like, the crap now. And it feels like it's subsiding. And I thought Caitlin Clark did a good job of helping us hopefully get rid of the endless sea of, like, you know, pawing back and forth of debating this.
Yeah, and I think I will say that the positive is that we're having this conversation about how people drive certain narratives about women's sports. And I think one of the big things, and Dawn Staley talked about this, and she made a point to say, you know, don't call the women on my team bar fighters, which is fair. Like, it's a dangerous thing to throw around, and you have to be aware of it. And these are conversations that we need to have. And so I'm glad that these are conversations we're having. And it's unfortunate that, like, we even have to have them, but it's important that we do. So I'm glad that, and to your point, is that it is pushing the sport of women's basketball forward. And I think we are in a situation where it's just going to go up from here. And, like, the idea that, like, oh, no one watches women's sports is long gone. And that narrative was completely just torn apart by this tournament, specifically numbers wise and just attention wise overall.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
In conclusion, largely awesome, minus everything else.
Yeah.
Let's talk golf.
Let's
talk some Masters.
Week. I wish we could play in the Masters. Do 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 do, like the little.
I could do the birds chirping. I have been to Augusta once, and I was 5 or 6 years ago. It was magical. I need to find a way back. I almost found a way back this year, but not to be. Golden Tee is going to get me back.
Okay.
That's how.
I think no punts allowed is going to get us there. I think that's what we're going to do.
Well, we need to do it. I love everything about this week. And by the way, like, similar to the Women's Final Four, what's interesting about this week is you have this incredible event and you have all the aura, and then you do have controversy as, like, a backdrop with the LIV versus the PGA Tour guys, which feels like it's subsiding. There's, like, a peace offering between certain members of the LIV not named Patrick Reed.
I think it's
right?
well, when you're suing people for no reason because you're a bad person, that kind of takes you off the list of redemption. But I think it's almost a nothing burger. I think, like, as some of the guys have said, on both sides, that, like, it's kind of perpetuated in the media of, like, oh, what's gonna happen? Because, I mean, Rory made a point to say that he's been around DJ and Brooks, and, you know, I think there's certain things that they're not going to discuss, obviously, and it's probably different than it used to be, but I think they are adults, and this is, like, kind of a work thing where it's like, okay, you can play around a golf with someone and not agree with everything they do. That's just how it works.
Yes.
Like, it's so funny to me that, like, people get so up in arms about things because, like, if they don't agree with someone, I mean, this even came up with, like, Kim Mulkey stuff. It's like, you can't, no one is perfect, and no, you're not going to agree with everything that someone says. And if you do, like, you should probably check on yourself that you're, like, not falling into a trap of just following someone just because of who they are. So I think that ultimately, like, this is not really a big deal. I think it is a big deal that they're allowed to play. And I think that's going to cause, we will see how it shakes out in terms of who wins this tournament and the standings and things like that. But I don't think it's a big deal amongst the guys where they're, like, discussing it. And it's like LIV guys are over here and PGA Tour guys are over here. I think ultimately, like, it's not going to be a huge narrative unless one of the LIV guys pulls this out.
Oh, and ultimately, everybody got what they wanted. The LIV guys got a shit ton of money. The PGA Tour has injected a ton into it.
And it's changed a lot,
And it's changed a lot. And you could argue with some of the we've talked about it, like the no cuts and things like that, with you when you agree with it. But ultimately, the product, the sport of golf is headed, like, the trajectory is incredible.
Yes.
But this week, I love the Champions Dinner. I am super intrigued by the sliders, the Scotty style with the French fries on. I'm a huge fan of that. I don't know if you had thoughts on Scotty style. Like, big fan.
See, I didn't like the look of the fries that were on there. I'm very particular about fries.
For God's sakes.
So I feel like if there were like a
Don't
waffle...
let a Gatorade debate.
I feel like a waffle fry on there would have been good. But I feel like those fries were like steak cut fries. I'm big on like beer battered fries. Like I think...
Me too.
I think beer batter or waffle would have been a better choice than steak fries on the Scotty style burger.
I thought the menu was solid.
I thought it was excellent.
I've been thinking about the... I think for me, I'd have to go. I know we did this last year. I think we came up with our dinner, but I've thought about this a lot. And I think steak for me, even though it's probably cliche, would be a must. Yeah. Oh, I did have a steak in Vegas that I will talk about. And I'm
when
going
we get to our
here.
random shit, you can talk about your steak.
Okay, fine. I would cook this steak, which was a completely unique steak that I had that I'm very intrigued by. So I like the meal. It was like classic. You had like mac and cheese. I thought Scotty did a really good job.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, I'm not betting him, and we'll get to our bets at the end too. But I'm having a hard time fading him. I'm not going to bet him.
Okay.
It's like reminds me of a horse race. Like there's going to be a huge favorite in the Kentucky Derby this year. This horse Forte, who's awesome, and like I love value. You know this about me. I love. So I'm always in search of value. Sky Scheffler is like not Tiger-esque, but like. We're getting to a point of like the closest thing we've seen in a while where he's that dominant. And so I couldn't be more jazzed for this week. Oh
I
my
love
God.
that you said
I am so excited.
Sorry. I'm just roasting you today. Just coming in hot.
I deserve
We took a week off. I've been saving up. I really have been. No, that menu was great. I will say the like skillet cookie thing, that's a yes for me.
It's a strong
and
yes
I
for
love
me
cake.
Too.
Like my menu would certainly have cake on it because cake is like the most superior of all the desserts. I love cake so much.
I have a dinner question for you. What are your thoughts on coffee after dinner?
Okay.
Where do you stand on this?
So here's the thing. I love the taste of coffee, and if there's coffee after dinner, I will drink it. Problem is I don't regularly, because if I have coffee past noon, I don't sleep at night. So that's the problem for me. But if I'm going to Europe on vacation, and I'm certainly having an espresso after eating Italian food. That's on my mind right now. Is really a vacation. But coffee after dinner, I'm all for it.
It has become one of my favorite things. I'm not doing this at night at my house, by the way, because it would be fucking terrible. But if I'm out, if I'm in Vegas.
Oh, in Vegas, Vegas is necessary almost.
but I also love. I've realized I love trying coffee, and Vegas is excellent at doing coffee. Like you know what I mean. So I'm huge. I am a huge coffee after dinner person.
Have you had an espresso martini?
Yes, it's delightful.
The best espresso martini second best. The best is here in Livermore where I live. The best in Vegas is at the Cosmos Chandelier Bar.
It's very good. I've had it there. In fact, I spent probably too much time.
I think I might have told you about that before and been like, you have to get the espresso martini.
That's a great bar.
But yeah, I think that's sort of, I'm glad we're on the same page, because after the Gatorade thing, like I wasn't sure if we were going to be friends again. But I think like coffee after dinner, we can handshake and get over it. Can we talk about the fact that I legitimately, okay, so on the day off at the Final Four, went to the Houston Astros game. And I took the month of March off of drinking, which I do every year. And so I hadn't drank in a while. And I had a double at the baseball game and then a beer, because I drink beer only at ballparks, really. 4th of July and ballparks, that's when I drink beer.
That's your rule. You've actually established. I respect that rule. I disagree with it, but I respect it.
So that's what I drank. And then after the baseball game, we went out to dinner and I had a glass of wine. Okay. So we go back to our hotel and I'm like, you know what? A little nap sounds good. Take a little nap, wake up. Like, I really am thirsty. We need to go get some waters. So walk to go get waters. By the way, everything closes very early in Houston. So we ended up in our hotel going to like the little concession area. All they had, this was like the Gatorade gods just giving me the middle finger. All they had was orange and red. And I was like, well, I'll go with the sparkling water in a can because I'm not drinking either of those Gatorades. Like, I refuse. I'm parched. I knew it would bring me back to life if I had Gatorade and I'd be perfectly hydrated and could go back to sleep and all of that. Nope. No. So I went with canned sparkling
both
water.
are delightful options.
No.
My so today my wife called me. Caitlin called me. She was at the store. She goes, "Hey, you want some Gatorade for this weekend? We got people coming in town and staying with us." I'm like, "Yes." She's like, "What flavor would you like?" And I started laughing. And so Cam, my youngest, is in the back, and he's just like, "Red, red, red," like just yelling it. And I'm like, she's like, "Yeah." She's like, she had not listened. She did not know. So I gave her the background on the pod. She goes, "Red's great, but it just stains your lips. And if it wasn't for that, red would be an elite Gatorade flavor." And I said, "Yes, orange." She goes, and she's like, "Orange? You don't want yellow?" And I'm like,
yes.
Fuck.
Yes. My own family was turning on me, so I'm glad that Caitlin. This is also really weird. I had a dream that I saw you and Caitlin like out. I don't know where we were, but I literally
drinking orange Gatorade.
And I was like, Team Yellow.
Team, like, what was funny about you never know when you do a pod. Like we don't go into this saying, "Hey, we're gonna make content about," like, no, we really don't. Like,
we specifically, like, a lot of people do. We specifically don't. We do not try at all.
That's actually a good point. Like, we are so lazy. This fucking itinerary for this pod has come together 3 minutes, sometimes live before we record. Imagine if we did, though, because the Gatorade thing was like,
I didn't realize it was so controversial. And I mean, there were a lot of team yellows, a lot of team oranges, but I think
it was pretty equal.
I think most people agreed that we were dumb and there were other colors that were far superior.
Well, and some of the takes were so bad.
Yeah.
Like the purple people.
Yeah, purple, like, get out. Go. Bye.
Out. Like, you're not at this conversation.
No.
Yeah, like, so I could see, and red, everyone seemed to kind of be in line with the red thoughts about ours.
So, I posted it to my personal TikTok, and the amount of, like, stitching that I got from people who were like, "Who is this girl, and where did she do her research?"
What is stitching? I mean,
I know you're being serious. Not a bit. But here we are. Okay.
I'm like, in my mind, I'm
on
like,
TikTok.
I could let this go.
But you have to ask. Okay, so what happens is when someone makes a video, you can stitch it, and basically it like starts the video and shows their video, and then they can give their commentary like right after. So they record like a response essentially. So it shows what they're responding to.
All the time, I see this on Instagram. Yes.
Oh, geez, you're like an Instagram Reels person who like.
Great. I am.
Yeah. So a lot of people were stitching it and calling me dumb, which is fine. I don't care. I mean, that's your opinion, but yellow is far superior in my opinion, and I'm gonna stick with that.
Oh boy.
But yeah, definitely a take that we did not know would cause so much uproar.
Stitching.
It's
kind of like, I get it now, and I know what it is. Like that.
Yeah, like you stitch the videos together.
Yeah, that's like some people. That's their whole bit.
Absolutely.
Stitching.
I could actually never do that. We were talking about this before the pod. Like, we just are not those people. Like, we just have a hard time. No. This sounds so lame of us, but like, we have a hard time being negative about a lot of stuff because we like really get to do like the coolest thing ever and just like talk about whatever we feel like on our own podcast. But
I could get in with takes and like celebrate or laugh. Like, but yeah, I'm not gonna be shitting on. Well, I might. But
depends on the person.
I won't do it publicly.
There are people. We should make a list of like top people that we would shit on. Patrick Reed is at the top of both of our lists, so I think that.
Yeah, he's on there, but he's inherently negative. Like most of the people that we would shit on would be like
negative
people that are like negative vibes.
Nancy's. We're not negative vibes.
It's like the opposite of who would you like to have a beer with list. Yeah. Like this is like the direct counter of that. And frankly, it's hard for me to think of it because most people.
The same thing. I was like, who would I put on this besides Patrick Reed?
Patrick Reed.
I don't know.
He's a man on an island. But yes, okay. So now I know what stitching is. Thank you for educating me. And
you're welcome.
So, and I'm sorry people are mean on the internet. What else is new?
Right. I mean, I didn't care at all. It's about Gatorade. Like if they were coming from like my personal character, I'd be a little upset. But my Gatorade takes, I'm good with. You could troll me on my Gatorade takes. It's allowed.
So do we want to talk about Masters bets? I have my bets in.
Okay.
I have my strategy here.
Before we talk about betting, I just want to talk about the fact that, like, I don't know why, but I have fully convinced myself that this is the year that Rory wins. Like, fully convinced myself this is where he does it. And we get that moment, and he gets that moment after the year that he had last year, being like the champion of golf, really, or championing for golf. Scotty Scheffler really was, but I guess technically he was because of FedEx. But yeah, I'm fully invested in the story of Rory.
And it would be awesome because he has such a bizarre history at this place, and he's playing it. He said he played 81 holes in like the last 2 weeks or whatever it was. And so it would be fitting, and it would be awesome.
We want the career Grand Slam.
Oh, we want the career Grand Slam. Tiger, I think, said it yesterday. It's like a matter of time, which is totally appropriate. And if you've ever been in a tournament and you've watched him swing, I one of my favorite things to do at any golf tournament is to sit at the range and just track these guys. And it actually is like the most humbling, insane experience when you're watching Rory they make it so easy. Yeah. It's almost infuriating, and he makes it particularly easy. The way the swing, like that is the golf swing. It's not a golf swing. And it's like that is the swing. Tiger Woods telling his kid, if you're going to model your golf swing after somebody, that's the guy. That's like, I don't know if there's ever been a nicer, larger compliment said about a sportsman than that.
Oh,
so
it's just the best.
I would love it. I did not bet him. I will say this, when I'm betting the Masters, this is like my dad's coming in town, right? So we're pooling up the money, and we're like, all right, let's find our horses. Like, let's find it. And the one thing that really does ring out at this course is, like, if you play this course well, you're probably going to play it well again. You may not win, but you're going to play it well. So when I bet this, a lot of the times,
did you bet previous champions?
No. Well, yes, I did bet one.
Okay.
Here, I'm going to go down my list. I'll go down my list because we have 7 horses now that I think. I'm going to try and remember them. I've already put the bets in. Our top, Colin Morikawa, I have at 28 to 1.
Okay.
I love his game. His iron play is immaculate, and I love everything about him.
The group that he's in to start also helps. Like, I always like looking at the groupings because I think that he's with Matt Fitzpatrick and Will Zalatoris. Like, that stuff is always interesting to me because I feel like you play up to the level, and that's a group that, like, I'm going to be watching.
Oh, absolutely. No, I agree. Like, it's funny about the pairings because I do think that's like a stripe show in terms of, like, hitting the ball. Maybe not putting. Zalatoris putting gives me the willies. I am taking one live guy, and it is Brooks. I am taking Brooks at 40 to 1.
Okay.
He's in our stable. He's playing better, and while I think a lot of these live golfers may get out here and, like, feel it, Brooks is a savage. He is a savage, and if he's healthy, he is a force. He's won a couple times. He looks healthy. Okay. 40 to 1 on Brooks, I think, is pretty good value. I'm moving down the odds board a bit. I'm going to try. Oh, Hideki Matsuyama, now 45 to 1.
I got him in top 5 finish.
So top 5 is plus 750. That's actually pretty glorious. That's
because
great.
He's always, 1, he plays his course well, and 2, like, he always ends up in top 10 would probably be safer, but I'm going to go top 5. I love him, by the way.
Yes.
I love Hideki.
Oh, I do too. And he's won. So I have 2 champions. Again, another guy who's a stripe show iron player. I have 2 around the same odds. Justin Rose, who is continuously playing this course great as long as he's healthy, is 50 to 1. And Tommy Fleetwood, 55 to 1. At some point, this dude can just put it together for 4 days and, like, go crazy, right? Like, at some point, I would love to see Fleetwood go berserk.
I think we have, like, the same, like, love of golfers. Like, if we had to put a list of, like, our favorite golfers together, I think we'd be, like, pretty close in terms of.
Oh yeah, no, you and I have, like, we've done some golf stuff before, and I have 2 more.
Okay.
One of which, where are they? So Danny Willett at 130. Again, he's won here before, but his game looks to be in a decent shape. And the other one that I really like, Kurt Kitayama at 130 to 1. He won earlier this year. Kind of been a journeyman tour player, like top 10 finishes.
Okay.
Can he play the course well? I don't know. I just love 130-1. So that is the Adam Kramer, Carl Kramer, Father Kramer
Your
stable.
dad's
He's
name
coming
is
in for this
Carl
week.
Kramer?
Yeah.
That is awesome.
Power name.
That is
Power name.
awesome.
Carl Kramer. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm of course going to bet Rory just because I want to be right about him winning, and I just want it to happen. I was going to sprinkle it.
Which, by the way, is awesome. But I have like I love that you have an emotional. This is like a tournament that's perfect for like strategy and emotion, like kind of like a cohesive bond between those two. So good for you.
Also, if I was going to put money on wives, Siwoo Kim, I don't know if you saw his wife earlier, but she is fantastic.
Yes.
I think
I'm not gonna say anything else other than nod and say yes.
Yeah, excellent golfer. I will say that why are you laughing?
Just excellent golfer. It was like a very like just transition
Just
cut.
cut.
Like you're
We're
just
going.
yeah.
I also will say that the par 3 is by far my favorite day. Like I love Sunday obviously, but par 3, it's everything that I love about.
I recorded it today.
I love the kids and the content. Poppy looks adorable. Tommy Fleetwood's kid last year I think he was last year, maybe the year before. Just absolutely stole the show. Yeah.
I also love the guys that bring like their hot girlfriends out to this.
And they have to wear those outfits and it's like 1.5 million degrees. They're all sweaty in the south.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
Yeah.
Pauline and
like
Gretzky, she's brunette. So that's interesting. I didn't know that she went brunette. Yeah,
really?
She's brunette.
I did not know that either. See,
I know. You'll learn something every day.
I'm gonna watch the par 3 contest. I know they changed up the course too, so I'm actually interested to see that.
So I'm gonna take Rory, and then what else? I'm probably gonna sprinkle on Hideki.
Yes,
Hideki, maybe just Hideki top 5. Yeah, no.
I need to be doing more top 5 and more top end betting, but I bet this like I want to hit the lottery.
To be
like
outright.
Not advisable.
Outright's
that is
hard in
smarter
golf.
betting.
Like we've talked about this before. Betting golf is not the easiest thing in the world.
Well, the one thing I do like though, it's like you bet like 130-1. You have $25 on this person, and you're in good shape. So I'm in.
I'm trying to think of who else outright that I would take.
The Scotty Scheffler feels like he's going to be very tough to beat. I will say that. And also, we have to talk a little Tiger. While you're looking through the odds, I really want Tiger to play well. If you listen to his press conference this week, it's the first time in a long time, maybe ever, where Tiger's like addressing the mortality of himself. I feel like
I
as a
tweeted about
golfer.
it. I was not okay with it. I was not okay with him being like, I don't know how many more of these I have in me. Excuse me, sir. No.
Well, he ain't gonna fuck around and be like ceremonial tee shot guy. He'll come, he'll hang, he'll eat steak, but I don't think he wants to be a
prop. No, not at all.
A prop. He's not here for that. Like I think it'd be too hard. He'll be following Charlie around. Like that's like gonna be his life. But hearing him say like he feels better, but his leg is throbbing. There's a lot of like little clues that he's dropped that is like, I don't like it. Like Savage Tiger is not here. Who knows? Maybe this is what he's trying to do from a mental mindset to get him up for this. Either way, we get to watch Tiger Woods play a fucking Masters, and I am all for it. If it's 2 days or 4 days, I don't care.
Just watching.
I want it to be 4.
Yeah, I'm hoping he makes it through. But yeah, that's it. I saw that and immediately was like, this is not okay. I don't want him to be done. When can Charlie like? I mean, I'm sure he'll be like the youngest player to ever be on tour, but like, when can he like technically be? I don't know. I actually don't know the rules well enough to know.
Yeah, I mean, no, neither do I. By the way, I have a sneeze that I'm holding in. I'm trying to work through it. I'm working through some things right now. Like, do I mute the mic? My sneeze is fucking bad. You've heard my sneeze. It's not the cartoonish like ugh, but it's not good. Don't you have a very delicate sneeze? Like, I'm trying to just. Don't you do? What's your sneeze? Or are you like aggressive?
I don't have like a tube. Like that's not me.
Okay,
but I am not at all. But I'm definitely like a full cover of the mouth like sneezer because like I want to get it out. I don't like. I'm not the like either. Like that drives me
Oh
crazy.
yeah. Well, that's
do you do that?
okay. I could no. I'm like a fucking like
I have to let it out.
an elephant.
Is it past?
I
Like, are
couldn't
you
remember.
good, or you want to
I don't know, man. I'm struggling here.
deep
And,
breath?
like, I don't really
Also,
want-
losing a sneeze. There's like nothing worse than losing a sneeze.
It's currently hovering like somewhere in my left nostril. But I'm trying. I've revealed a lot on this pod. I don't know if I want the world to hear my sneeze. This could be a quick mute.
I mean, I'm sure I've heard you sneeze. I'm sure of it.
It's like my kids make fun of my sneeze. That's why I'm like, oh yeah. Until I turn around, they're like, what was that? I'm like, you fucking live with me. What do you mean, what was that? So I'm a little self-conscious about my sneeze. Like, I want...
Oh, your kids are savages.
Oh, no, they aren't. Like, now that we're in the random shit part of this,
Yeah.
I think I can talk. My two boys, I've got a couple of things of random shit. I go to Vegas. I've been gone 7 days, and they've been like little leeches on me. Like, wherever I sit on the couch, I got 3 kids sitting on me, which I like. It's fun. I don't mind being a big comfy chair, okay? But, so my two boys, they are 3 and 6. My Jack is athletic, my 6-year-old, but like smaller.
That's an understatement.
Oh yeah, but but my 3-year-old is like a barbarian. So they're not that big difference in size. And they beat the shit out of each other playfully now. I took a video the other night, and it's like legitimately floor work in a UFC fight. Like and they love it. So, but the other night, they're playing, and Cameron fucking bucks his head back, boom, knocks my son's tooth out, which was loose, fucking right there. Like, so these two savages, like while I was in Vegas, they're like, and every night, 5:30, I get home, they're like they're ready to go. They get like the fucking, like, it's like a regulated fight. Somebody always gets hurt.
Yeah, it always
at
ends
the end,
with
and then it
the
stops.
banging and the silence and then the tears. It's like, Mom, Dad.
But it is so funny, like, watching them. So that is my first random thing. My other random thing, I have to talk
I
about
was
the
just gonna
steak
say,
I had.
let us hear about this steak.
So I had dinner at, it's called the Palm. It's in Caesars. It's been around a long time. It's a steakhouse. Caesars, by the way, is just enormous. I don't know. I stay at like MGM properties. I like it, and this place was great. They had a pastrami crusted steak, a ribeye. Okay, and I was not sure. I'm not exactly sure how this was prepared, but I saw this thing and I said, I've got to try it.
Oh my.
Okay, I have become a bit of a steak snob in my middle-aged,
Not middle-aged, but okay.
dad, my dad years. However we want to quantify this, because I cook, I sous vide my steaks, I sear it. I've spent a lot of time. It was a COVID thing to get my steak right. So a lot of steaks I have, I'm like, okay, it's okay. This was fucking phenomenal. It didn't taste like pastrami at all.
Interesting.
But like the texture and the crispiness, and they serve it with like a giant clove of garlic that you just like smash. Oh my God. This is one of the best steaks I've ever had. This is a strong, not an ad, but the Palm in Caesars.
Okay.
And again, I was like so thrown off. Pastrami crusted steak. Like, what the fuck? It was remarkable. The bar has been raised. I think it's probably the best steak I've had in Vegas.
That's saying a lot.
So I can't describe the flavors. It was just that good.
I love pastrami. Like, fun fact about me, like, I will eat a pastrami sandwich any day of the week.
There you go.
So that to me, because I'm not like a huge steak person. Like, I enjoy a good steak, but like, it's if there's seafood on the menu, which usually when you go to a place where there's steak, there's good seafood, and I love seafood.
And it's really good.
And
yeah,
so
for sure.
I usually go for the seafood option. But that sounds like something I'd be willing to try.
It was very good.
Have
So
you
that
been
is
to the
my
Hell's
two very
Kitchen
random.
restaurant?
The burger or
No,
whatever.
not the burger one. I'm trying to remember what hotel it's outside of.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. No, I haven't. I've done the burger one. I don't even know if that's still there. It was good. Actually,
that one was good. It was small portions, but it was good. And then I've been to Giada's. I don't know if you've been to Giada's, and if you like Italian food, go to Giada's. That shit was good.
I actually have been to there, and it's delightful.
It's wonderful.
Yes,
the food in
really,
Vegas
really,
is something
really...
like a lot of people think like, oh, gambling and drinking, but like the food in Vegas is next level.
it has become unbelievable. It's so hard to get a table.
Yeah.
Zuma in Cosmo, I think, is probably my favorite restaurant out there. It's just like the most unique stuff. I could not get there any night.
I'm a big
So we kept trying new stuff.
big like reservations well in advance. Like I'm going to New York in June, and like I'm ready for a month in advance to call the places that I'd like to go.
Oh, it is wild. You have to do it now, otherwise you're going to be shit out of luck. So no, I had great food. I'm trying to think some of the other meals we had. It was too good. It was great. But the pastrami crusted steak was like next level good.
That is amazing.
How random is that?
Yeah, we love random shit. I was thinking about like when I went to Vegas as like a college student, and then versus like Vegas as an adult, where like I actually sat down and had meals. Like in Vegas for the Pac-12 tournament when I was in college, like I like McDonald's, and like that was it, because I was trying to like save as much money as possible, and like that's the cheapest thing in Vegas. I think I've been to one sit down dinner before I was like actually out of college, and then I finally was like, okay, we're gonna go sit down at these places and eat. But yeah, Vegas is
the way you do
and
it.
Also like my brother went, not my poor brother, he got to go to Vegas for the Pac-12 tournament. But it's just funny to hear like what guys plan to do in Vegas versus what women plan to do in Vegas. Like it's just so different.
We missed our dinner reservation, my buddy and I, because we were at a streetcar table, and we looked down and we didn't realize it had been like 3 hours, and we missed our reservation by like an hour, and we were, oh my God, one of the best tables we've ever been at. One more piece of random shit. This is very funny. Our dealer, my buddy goes, you look like Harrison, and we're hammered, by the way, just as a precursor. You look like Harrison Ford in that one movie, and he had a beard, and I'm like, Dr. Richard Kimball. And so the entire table for 3 hours, the casino must have hated us. It was Richard Kimball. Now, also, a dealer will create an entire vibe, can make a trip. This guy leaned in. Also, not a bad thing. Harrison Ford as Dr. Richard Kimball in Fugitive was a good-looking man. So this guy embraced it. And, oh, God, that was one of the most enjoyable tables we've ever been at. I think I probably drank 13 Coronas at that table. Like, we were there for 4 hours.
On the floor.
Well, you know, the night went where it ended. Not on the floor, you know. But it followed the proper like blueprint. But again, goddamn Vegas, I love it, and I'm good with it for a while. I need a little break.
You need a break, Gary. We'll be prepared to go back at some point because I want to go. For a podcast thing, we'll go and sit and watch something there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm planning on making it to Vegas in November. That's the goal. F1 races.
Yes.
Oh, speaking of random shit. Talk about a miserable experience. So the Final Four Saturday is a long day. Like a long day. Okay. I was on the bus at the shuttle back to the hotel at 12:30, and I got to the arena at like 11 something. So I was there a long time. The Formula One race was in Australia this weekend, so it started at midnight local time where I was. So I'm on the shuttle watching, and within the third turn, one of the Ferrari cars goes off and the guy's out. And I'm like, this is just bullshit. Now I'm sitting, of course, on
a long day.
Yeah, I'm tired. I'm sitting on the shuttle. I'm really mad that I can't be screaming and yelling right now. And then, of course, it was just like the craziest race where there was like so much that happened. The end of the race, like I was up till 3 a.m. watching that race. After being up all day, because I just wanted to know what was going to happen. And it was like pure chaos. And the end of it, my favorite driver ended up being penalized for something that he shouldn't have been penalized for.
I saw your tweets, by the way. Yeah,
I was not happy. It just doesn't, like, it just bothers me that like the FIA's rules like switch for whoever they feel like, and they punished Carlos, and it was very, very wrong to punish Carlos for a lap that didn't exist. Basically what happened is, this is essentially what happened, okay? So there was a crash, and a couple people were out, and so they stopped the race, and then they had to put them back. They put them back in the order that they were without those other cars to restart the race, but it was going to be under a safety car because there was only 2 laps left, okay? The accident, one of the accidents that happened occurred because of Carlos, but technically that lap was erased, okay? It didn't happen because that's why they started the order the way that they did. Okay, so that lap technically did not happen based on the order that they put it back in, what they decided, okay? after the race, they penalized him for that accident, even though technically they decided that lap just didn't count because of the order that they did. So they penalized him for that.
Yeah, that sucks.
And the people that caused the actual accident were actually teammates, but they didn't get anything. So it was a mess. It was an absolute mess. It had to be stopped and restarted within the last, I think 5 laps of the race twice. It was so bad. And they had to sit there and do the decision. And it's get it together. They have a month to figure it out because there's not another race until the end of April. But yeah, that one was a little miserable. I will say, though, that Arsenal won their game on that day, so that was good. But yeah, other than that, really struggled.
The F1 preps in Vegas, by the way, are underway. I'm still in awe that they're going to do this.
Do it by November, too, yeah.
They got a lot of work to do. And I was out there recently. I'm out there again, and I know they've started on some of the streets, and I got an education from my cab driver. You can learn a lot from a cab driver,
especially in Vegas,
on how they're going to do this. What an undertaking. The city. It's going to be really interesting to see the impact on the city.
It's going to be a lot. There's going to be a lot of people there. It's going to be insane, but hopefully I'm there. So we'll see.
Oh yeah.
We'll see. Well, we should go enjoy the rest of the par 3. Enjoy the golf this weekend. Good luck with your bets.
You too. It's good to get this back together, by the way. This has been, it was good. We had to need a break. We had, well, shit, there's been a lot of stuff going on. Why are you smirking at me?
I don't know. I can't hear do I sound muffled to you?
No.
I think
by the way, I almost sneezed while you were talking.
There we go. My headphones
It would have been the perfect, it would have been the perfect end to the pod.
You sneezing.
I tried.
You tried?
No, it's still there.
I just can't believe you lost it and still have hope that it's coming.
Oh, no, it's back. While you were talking, I'm like, keep it together. You could do this.
You're going to just sneeze. Let it out. This is a safe space.
If I could force a sneeze right now, I would.
For the content. See, we can't even force it when we're trying.
No, we're bad at that. The sneeze would be the perfect bow. And then but I can't force a sneeze.
So bad it's good, but
all right. Well, enjoy the Masters. Everybody enjoy the week. And for Paige, I'm Adam. We will talk to you guys soon.